welcome to this week's edition of The Kitzer, your weekly dose of Torah and self-development designed to help you have a better week, to live a better life, and maybe even taste a sweeter afterlife. This week we have Parshas Bo. It's the dramatic conclusion of the 10 plagues and the ascent out of Egypt. Now, after the 8th plague, Pharaoh's sorcerers and necromancers and all his people are pleading with him, just let the Jewish people go. Let them go. So Pharaoh finally says, you know what, I'll let you go. He makes some conditions that ultimately don't end up working out, but he adds a threat. Ki ra keneged penechem. There's evil against your faces. Bad things are going to happen to you out there. So you know what, you may as well just stay. And he was right. Him and his prophecy was referring to the astrological sign of Ra, which indicates bloodshed. And when the Jews leave Egypt and they're out in the desert, they sin with the golden calf, and God threatens to wipe them out completely. And Moses pleads with them and ends up, rather than wiping them all out, they have not the blood of the people, but the blood of circumcision. And Pharaoh was right before too. His prophecy showed that there was going to be a day when the Jewish leader was born, and during that time, he was going to be afflicted by water. And that was right. Moses was not allowed to enter the land of Israel because of sins he had related to water, but that water, as we know, transformed the fate of the Jewish people with the crossing of the sea. And the Talmud brings this point home even further when it talks about this symbol of Ra, indicating bloodshed, and that it can mean different things for different people. If you're born and you have a natural inclination towards this Ra, you could become a murderer, God forbid. Or you could become a butcher, kind of a neutral thing. Or you could rise to the highest echelons of serving your community as a ritual circumcision or even a doctor. So this blood can be negative to neutral to positive, but it's all that same inclination. And I think this is an important point for us to consider in our own lives and the lives of our family, that we have certain inclinations. And those can be used for bad, and those can be used for good. And I would take it even a step further, that sometimes what we think is the worst part of us, what Pharaoh thought would kill us, is in fact what can help us succeed. I think of a rabbi that I knew who was the definition of a rebellious student. He refused to take any listen from anything from authority. He saw his own path, and that allowed him to see things very differently and to succeed in ways that others couldn't. Maybe that's the same thing that led someone like Elon Musk to go to space. Of course, people would tell you you can't go to space, but a rebellious nature can lead you there. Or another amazing example is Lionel Sanders. He was addicted to crack cocaine. That addictive personality he was able to channel into a new form to become Ironman world champion. So in some ways, we can recognize that Pharaoh was right. There were certain inclinations, there were certain challenges the Jews were facing, but through the help of the Almighty and through their efforts, they transformed that Ra into the ultimate Tov, into the ultimate good. Shabbat Shalom.